Hello and welcome back to Shmindle Shmumlimited. We are here for episode 4 for your favorite podcast for ratings, rants, and reviews about Kindle Unlimited books. My name's Amity, one of your hosts.
I'm Lauren.
And I'm Steph, and we're excited for our 4th episode. We read The Quit List by Katie Bailey.
A rom-com. So before we get into talking about The Quit List, let's talk about other things that we've read lately. Anybody read anything good?
So I just finished Zodiac Academy number 9.
It was so good.
And
what did you think? What did you think?
So it was 1,000 pages, so it took me longer than it usually takes me to read a book.
Are the other books that long?
So they didn't start, it's kind of very Harry Potter, where like they start off small and approachable and quickly digestible.
Yeah.
And then the story gets so complex.
And then they
so
hook
many
you
layers.
and you can't
right.
stop. Okay.
Yes. Like I have to imagine, I've not seen the books in print. I've only read them on my Kindle. But I have to imagine that if you stacked them up, it might be like 3.5, 4 feet tall.
Yeah. The only thing with
It's an anthology.
I wish that I'd read, and I also think when the next Fourth Wing comes out, I'm going to think the same thing. I kind of wish I waited until all the books were out and then just read them in a row, because I didn't have, like, I waited 1.5 years so I didn't remember some of the characters or what they went through. So that was, and I was getting them confused with other books. So that was a little difficult.
See, pre-gamed is not the right word. I pre-studied, I prepared for book 8.
Okay.
And reread all of books 1 through 7. And I did the same thing before 7. And I want to say I got into it before 6 came out, but it might have been for 4 to 5. But so I had read all of the books minus 8 and 8.5 at least 2 or 3, at least 3 or 4 full times. So I found myself not as in need of a full recap. And I was going to reread book 8, but life's been busy, so I did not. When I read book 9, I hopped right into it.
Maybe one day when I have some free time, I'll reread books 1 through 9, but that would be quite the
I'm now
task.
calling it a pregame when I do a reread before the next book comes out, so thank you for that.
So Zodiac Academy, to me at least, is one of those series where do you ever see that meme there? It's like, what series would you reread if you could experience for the first time again?
Yes.
I think, for me, it'd be Zodiac Academy over Harry Potter.
Okay.
Wow.
For me, it would be Fourth Wing. I really
I would say Fourth
Wing
as well.
See, it hasn't finished yet, and I don't know if I need that perspective.
True. Maybe it is too early to make this decision. But
yes. Exactly.
So we got besides the first 2 books.
Right. Besides Fourth Wing, is there another series or like book, even just singleton book, that you would like trade a non-important appendage?
I give my appendix for this book.
It has to be a book or a series. I don't know.
Ooh.
When I read, I get so into the books, so I can't reimagine doing that again.
Right, but like the ones that like captivated you so far. So like when I read Zodiac Academy, and it was not as bad with Fourth Wing, when I read Zodiac Academy, I could not sleep. Like I had to know what happened.
That was like me in Fourth Wing.
My heart rate like probably did not drop because I hopped in at least 4, if not all 5, if not 5 books were out when I hopped in. And one of like, that's when the cliffhangers start. And I had to know what happened. I remember because it was like my birthday, it was Labor Day weekend. It was the UCF Boise game for like anybody out there who like distinctly remembers it. The one at UCF that went on rain delay. We were at the stadium probably until like 2 a.m. It went on such a rain delay, but the game had such big implication. Anyways, it's not a college football podcast. But I remember being so excited to be on the rain delay because I had my phone, beauty of the Kindle, but I synced with my phone app, and I got like 4 hours of reading time in while we were like, underneath because the lightning and everything. The kids were like falling asleep in my lap, and I was just reading, and I was so captivated. Like I was at like my favorite place reading Zodiac Academy. Like I was that.
I feel like that's going to be me for Fourth Wing, depending on how it ends. Yes. I'm also the type of person that if I don't like the ending, I just won't read it. So, for example, Summer I Turned Pretty, I know how it ends. I will not read the final book.
Okay.
Because you want to stay in your land.
I want to
of
stay
mystery and-
how it ends on the second book. Like, that's perfect to me.
So are you going to watch the next season of the show?
No, I don't think so. I don't know. I am very conflicted about it. I might have to, like, research spoilers to see if I would like how... Because I feel like the show might change.
Well, you have until, I think, August 2025. I think they said will be the next Summer I Turned Pretty season.
Well, I know... So this summer season, season 3, which is the third book.
Even with the writer's strike, it's still coming?
Yeah, it's coming out this summer.
Oh, okay.
I already saw... Or maybe they're filming it now, because I've been seeing
I thought
a
it was
bunch of...
filming it now for summer
'cause I've been
release
seeing
next year.
a lot of TikToks. And it would like...
But I
Taylor
thought it
Swift
was like
songs.
them... Yeah, but I thought it was like them playing like beach volleyball or beach ball, just don't let it hit the ground or whatever.
I'll have to look
And I
into
thought
it.
it said like, we're preparing for August 2025. And I was like, oh my gosh.
That's a long ways away.
Well, and
Yeah.
they're also old for their characters.
Yeah.
And then, like, there's just
But-
more time for them to get older, although people don't age anymore. So,
Yeah,
like,
from my understanding, they do book 3 is a time jump. I wouldn't know because I never read it,
And you never will.
and I never will because I know how it ends.
well, let's get into a book we did read.
Yes.
Which was The Quit List by Katie Bailey. So, Lauren, take us through the synopsis of The Quit List.
So let's start with our main characters. Our female main character is Holly Green. Holly is, mid to late 20s.
Yes.
She works at a hotel in a position that she is well overqualified for.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
yes.
Our male main character is Jax Granger. He is who I dubbed the hot bartender.
I loved him.
Yes.
Yes.
He is working towards opening up his own business as a travel, like, mountain man guide.
Yes.
And then Dylan,
Did you picture him with a beard?
yes.
I
Absolutely.
don't know. I pictured him like dark hair. Like
definitely pictured dark hair.
A chiseled jaw. Yeah.
I think he had-
I did not picture him with a full beard, but like
the
crappy free, like shaved.
Yeah.
Like he shaved sometimes.
because he doesn't care.
Yes.
Also,
And
he only wore dark colors in my mind.
was it always like a plaid shirt?
Yes.
Or
like,
hunter green.
Yeah, I can see that. I feel like
he's gotta blend in with the woods, okay?
I don't remember if it's like on Insta or TikTok that I sometimes see this guy, his handles like Thor or something.
Yeah.
And he's just like always
He's
chopping
always-
wood. That is who I pictured for Jackson.
I have seen him too.
Um,
Next character who
Bradley Thor. This is who I pictured.
Oh,
For
okay.
Jackson.
Yes. Okay, I can see that.
But yes. I mean,
That was like overalls and all.
Yes.
But then just like also making a espresso martini.
which are delicious. Let's go to our next character who we have dubbed Dylan the Dick.
Dylan the Dick.
Who is Holly's ex-boyfriend, and we will dive more into his terrible character.
He did have character development.
He
It just
did.
made you hate him more
Yes.
and more.
And more, and more, and more.
He was very preppy in my mind. His collar was always up.
With the corresponding Live Strong face.
Yes.
Next we have Maddie, who's Jax's stepsister. He's very close with her. Sebastian is Maddie's husband. And then my personal favorite, Rick Astley, the dog.
So Maddie and Sebastian did not have their own book before this, right?
No, I looked it up because they definitely should have.
Their story felt so familiar to me.
Yes.
Like I was like, I think I've read this before.
Yes.
And I kept trying to like, no, what's the town? What's the nope, I could not find it, but I was certain I have read their story.
I mean,
before.
you have made the story up in your mind, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, it was a good one. It was a good one.
So the start of the book is describing Holly waiting for Dylan the Dick to kind of get his shit together. They dated back in college, and then he said the time wasn't right, maybe one day, and they work together. He is the manager of the hotel, and she works like front desk. And
I think she's the front desk manager. at
yes,
least.
Also, who works for their ex-boyfriend?
yeah.
I
I don't know. Someone who's pining after him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess. But I guess they got the job and then they broke up.
I don't
But-
know. I don't know. I think they broke up and then
They
got
both
the job
got the
at
job.
the same
Right,
place.
yes, because I want to say she was like, oh, now the timing will be right.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
But
it's
he's her
been
boss.
years. Yeah, awkward.
Does that, in thinking through that, does that make you not hate him as much? That he's like, you're my employee, we can't go. I mean, he does go there though.
No, he
so like,
doesn't.
spoiler
Yeah.
alert, he kisses her.
right?
Like
at like
Christmas
a Christmas party. And then the next day he pretends that she doesn't exist.
Yeah.
So that's when she...
And hires somebody else for a job that he very much knew she wanted.
Yes, and that she would be great for.
And that was
but then,
one of the reasons we call him Dylan the Dick, I guess.
Yeah. And then she comes to the realization that she wants to find true love, and she's over...
Because she's very type A. She's like, look, if I do this thing, I will have this result.
Yes.
And that's what I want to do.
She has her list of attributes that a gentleman suitor must have. Must have a job. What was it, like a 30?
He must be in his 30s.
Yeah, between 30 and 45.
Want a family.
Want a family.
Stable job.
She put this all in her dating app.
Yeah.
Because that's how you find a guy.
Which screams, unfortunately, a little desperate.
Yeah.
Is how Jax described it.
Accurately.
Very accurately. So Holly is on her, the first date that we hear about. I think this was date 10 in a row on every Saturday for 10 Saturdays.
At the Italian restaurant where Jax is the bartender. Was it an Italian restaurant? I imagined it Italian.
I think so too.
Okay.
But this date is with Keith. Keith sucks. Big time.
All of the dates suck.
Like Keith was number 10 who sucked, and number 9 also sucked, and 8 also sucked.
They all sucked.
Yes.
So Holly tries to kind of cut their losses, say, hey, like, this isn't going anywhere. And Keith is appalled because he thinks, this is...
Does he try to split the bill?
Well, she offers
to
split the bill.
Split it, and then he's like,
he
heck
was
no.
Offended.
I think he just wanted to sleep with her or something.
That's all he wanted.
Basically, like, I paid for this time. I now am do my whatever she...
So he huffs off outside.
Fine.
And then after a couple minutes, he huffs back inside and gets in her personal space and starts yelling at her to the point where Jax has to come rescue her. They've never, he's never met Holly before.
Yeah, no, but he's
just seen her. Yeah.
Seen her for 10 Saturdays in a row on bad dates. And he pretends that they know each other and that she called him to come because... Keith, the terrible date.
Yeah, Keith was so bad that Keith made her feel like, I miss you, random guy I've never actually met before, but you're here to save me, and we need to get back together.
So after Keith leaves, Jax proceeds to sit down, start drinking her wine, and, chats with her.
Orders her a cheesecake, because he's noticed she gets one every time.
And sends her on her way after he tells her to do better.
Yes. Will you do me a favor? What? Do better. I cannot wait to get to deliver that line in real life. I don't know when, I don't know how, but I have put that in my back pocket.
Yes, that is a perfect recommendation for someone. Just do better. So she takes his advice to kind of cool down on like the very expensive dates and do something much more casual. So she decides to meet the next guy, Garrett, at the park.
For a walk. Nice sounding first date.
I feel like I did that for a first date once. He did show up though. So
I forgot Garrett doesn't show.
Garrett doesn't show. And Jax happens to be walking his dog.
His dog with the best dog name ever.
Rick Astley. I love that. So Garrett doesn't show up. Jax talks to Holly and immediately says, oh, you've been waiting an hour? He has a girlfriend. Don't know how he knew this.
Because that's his superpower. Is naming dogs and reading people.
Yes. So Holly's, no-show Garrett. His girlfriend texts her, say, leave my boyfriend alone. So Holly's like, oh, crap. Jax really knows what he's talking about.
So now she goes to see him at the restaurant, right?
Yeah, because she wants advice from him about how she can clean up. Also, Jackson is just put in his 2-week notice.
It was like a 6-week notice, though.
It turned out to be 6 weeks.
Yeah, because he's starting his own. He has a cabin in the woods of Georgia, and he's going to start his own trail. Like Airbnb, guide business, but he has this issue where he doesn't have a platform, he doesn't have any marketing, and he has everything ready for it. He just doesn't have, like, how do people book?
Right.
How to spread the word out.
And Holly happens to be great at that.
Yes.
At marketing and understand booking of a place with limited numbers of spaces.
Yes. Which, in the back of my head, I was so funny because when she goes there, I was like, they're about to make a deal. Like, I can see the writing on the wall.
The formula?
The formula, yeah. I'm getting good at this formula.
It's like we've read enough books. We know
that we pretend books about other characters have been read too.
Yes.
Yeah. So
we're still enjoying them, and
they strike a deal to where Jax teaches Holly how to clean up her dating profile and fish out red flags.
Yes.
And she will then help Jax with his guiding
website,
business.
Instagram, and all of that. So they get to work, getting to know each other both on the dating website side. They go on the cutest little errand. So Jax's sister surprises Jax with the news that she's expecting a baby. And Jax responds,
Are
you sure it's not indigestion?
Oh my gosh. Now, Jax has commitment issues. His dad wasn't in the picture, so he doesn't want to get married, doesn't want to have a family.
Yes, it is his stepsister.
Yes.
And his dad treated his mom and stepmother very poorly. We don't actually get to meet the dad.
No.
Yeah.
But we have lots of info that his dad is terrible.
His dad might have been a big fan of Dylan. Put it that way.
Yes, I can see that. So they then go baby shopping for Jax's sister. So he wants to buy her a gift as an
best
apology.
baby gift.
Yes.
It was so cute.
Apology for my terrible response to you telling me.
I really am excited to be the godfather. That's
Yes.
what she asked
Yes,
me to be the
she asked
godfather,
me
which
to
is
be
such
the
a big
godfather.
deal.
Also, Jax, I feel like this is how I expected a guy with commitment issues to respond.
Yes.
You know, it was very accurate, his thought process
Yes.
and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So,
and then while they're baby shopping, who do they meet?
her, like, college friend or high school
High school mean girl, I think
high
it
school
was.
mean girl. Yeah.
Just proceeds to tear Holly down. And they had I think it was the terrible yearbook thing of like the most likely to not succeed.
Yeah, most likely to do nothing.
Also, what high school has that?
allows that.
Yeah.
Right, like, yeah, this is fine. Best guys, most musical.
Least likely to do anything.
Least likely to succeed.
I don't think it was quite like that. I think it was something like most likely to remain in our hometown. But it was the same thing.
Yes.
But it was a little more subtle. Like any true reading yearbook advisor would have been like,
let's not put that.
Maybe not.
But they did not, that yearbook advisor. So with what potentially could be not our first trope, but I guess the first one we'll call a trope is that fake dating type
yeah.
thing.
Because Jax pretends to be Holly's boyfriend and gushes about her and sends the mean girl on her
Right, because the
merry
mean
way.
girl was like, oh, I'm on kid 3. Like,
Yeah.
are you expecting just a little baby on your own? That's so sweet
Yeah.
that you're doing that. And so he comes into the full rescue.
And he talks about like all the hiking they do and all this stuff and all these activities that they do in these adventures. And Holly comes to the realization, she's like, I want to be that person.
Yeah, like,
I don't want to be this person that,
Does nothing.
does
Right.
nothing,
Doesn't have these
that doesn't have these adventures. So then that's where the quit list comes in.
yes. So the quit list is Holly's solution to all of the things she wants to quit doing. She wants to quit being lame, basically.
Simple as
It's just
that.
one thing. Quit being lame. And start being the like fun, carefree, adventurous, go-get-em person that she wished she could be, because she realized like, crap, I'm basically 30 now. And in your 30s, I feel like you all realize like, oh, I can just be who I want to be. And sometimes who I want to be is just a person who takes naps. But sometimes it's a person who does all of the things. And so Holly realizes she wants to be a person who does all the things and starts doing them.
Yeah, they go.
She does. They go kayaking.
They go kayaking.
Yes.
But in the sundress, do they go hiking after the store or like the next
I think so.
day?
And I think it was
Yes.
after the store.
So he just
Yeah.
takes her up to a random, like, short hike near Atlanta, and like, she is not dressed for this, but she
Yeah.
does it anyway, does not complain, slipping, sliding all
Yes.
over in her sandals.
And then he takes her kayaking, and she's wearing like an itty bitty bikini.
The purple bikini, I think.
This is where I was like, oh, Holly, you and I are very similar. I am never ready
Shows
for
up in her
adventures.
Lululemon.
Oh yeah, Lululemon like sports
Cute
bra,
outfit, yep.
cute outfit. I'm like, I have the exact same one, Holly. And I also wear it hiking, so you're all set.
Of course, she proceeds to fall in the water, and Jax has to come rescue her and paddle her back.
Yeah.
And then she proceeds to go on a couple more dates. The first one with the podiatrist, and he has a foot emergency and leaves.
In the middle of dinner.
In the middle of dinner. So she hangs out with
Oh,
Jax for the rest of the night. And then she goes to, while they're there, Jax's sister-in-law is there and says, oh, you should meet my husband's teammate. And
Yes,
another
the
professional
hockey.
hockey player.
Yes.
His name is Aaron. So she ends up going to the club with them. You know, Aaron is great, you know, guy. They can be friends, but there is no spark. No. And they both know that.
Yeah, but they run into Dylan the Dick at the nightclub.
And guess who comes to her rescue again?
Well, he comes more because he's a little upset that she was with the hockey
but
player.
remember the timing of him arriving is right when Dylan the Dick kind of grabs her wrist. And it's like, I don't know, they met up in like a dark bathroom hallway.
Yeah.
And I was like, where is this go? Like, I was like, are we getting into dangerous stuff? Like, those are tropes I don't want to read about. But Jackson came to the rescue and brought it back to, not PG, obviously. But then they went to the dance floor and they lost track of time. And they had like the best time.
And then they're about to kiss.
And the lights come on.
Yes. Yeah. And the music stops. And the club shuts down.
And I love this. This was like totally out of, like, it wasn't in her realm, but she just like enjoyed it. She like embraced it.
She quit being lame.
Yeah, she was
just living in the moment.
Person in the club in the middle of the dance floor.
Yes.
Having a great time. I loved it.
And then they were going on this hiking adventure because she needed to get photos and he needed to do
like a practice run with a novice.
Yep, and she was novice.
So they go up to his cabin for 3 days, and Jax has taken her around. They go to some really awesome places. They go to before they even leave, there's an outdoor shower scene.
Oh yes. This is where all like the sexual tension is coming.
Yeah,
it started. So this outdoor shower.
They kissed before that, right?
No.
Mm-mm.
No.
Okay.
So this outdoor shower may not have an enclosure. And Holly's just walking by and Jax may be showering for her to see in all of his glory. So she hides.
And he sounded pretty glorious.
Yes.
Yeah.
She hides, pretends she doesn't see him, and then they pretend nothing happened and start their hike. And they initially kiss when they go to the waterfall.
The waterfall!
Yes.
How beautiful. And then, a couple days, next day, more kissing, nothing happens.
And they're tent hiking.
Yes.
And
they each have their own one-person tent. Yeah. Very important piece of information.
Because
they
on day
then
3...
meet the missing Vikings.
The missing LARPers.
Yes.
Who are playing a game with other people dressed up in a different outfit, and they may be like 3 miles lost.
Yep.
So,
but still in character, which I really appreciate.
Running towards Holly and Jax with their swords.
Who would you rather meet in the woods? A random man, a Viking LARPer, or a bear?
Viking LARPer, by far.
Also, I've been hiking multiple times and I've never met a LARPer.
Well, you're going hiking in the wrong place.
I guess it's only in Georgia.
Wait, I gotta make a trip to Stone Mountain.
Yeah.
That's pretty typical on the Appalachian Trail.
I really want to find some Viking LARPers
while you're hiking.
So they put the Viking LARPers, the 2 of them, in a one-person tent to share. They feed them.
Because they got like really lost. Like this is
they're far away from where they need to be.
Yeah. I feel like I keep doing like every episode. I was like, logistically, this makes no sense.
Yes.
And logistically, these Viking LARPers somehow get like more than an afternoon's hike away from wherever they started. I know.
I guess it was getting dark.
I
know nothing about LARPing or any of that.
Neither do I, but
don't they hang
fun.
out together? Like I never, like none of them
like
ever
they
go
were
for
going
a hike.
into battle. From what I gathered, I just pictured people from the Monty Python.
Yes,
like
same. But
the coconut.
Yes.
Like this is exactly what I pictured.
Same.
It brought me a lot of joy. I enjoyed this part of the book.
This was possibly one of my favorite parts of the entire book.
When I was over there, like me.
Yes.
I wish it had lasted more than like the 10 pages they were in the book. But
this may be one of the most creative, out of the box ways to force the Forks proximity.
The Forks one bed tent version of it. So Jax and Holly have to share this one-person tent with the dog. So,
Rick Astley.
I love that dog.
Did we share why? I mean, do we assume our listeners have read the books? I have to imagine that they've read the books and they appreciate Rick Astley. But like, I want to take a moment. I think my favorite part of Jax's character development was when he talks about how he got the foster dog Rick Astley.
Yes.
And he named it Rick Astley because he's never going to give you up. I was like, oh my God. Like, I might have had actual tears in my eyes.
It's such a great
the sweetest thing. Like, Jax Jax's character development was outstanding.
Yes.
And everything he did, I was like, God, I like this guy even more.
Yes.
Well, and I also think it's because we see his point of view, too.
Yes.
So it's so nice to see how he changes throughout the book.
Yes.
Let me just say I love dual point of view. I love the
Yes.
guy's perspective.
Yes.
Maybe it's because a woman is writing a man's perspective, but it's fine.
This is what they should all think.
As I go home and ask my husband, do you think like this? And hopefully
I do think this point of view is more of what a guy thinks.
I think so too. It's more realistic than previous books that we have read. So the next morning they send the Vikings on their way after they give them a map and tell them how to get back to where I also don't trust them to get back.
Well, and because here's the thing, they are close enough that they think we're not even going to eat breakfast. We're just going to walk on back to where our car is and then drive to breakfast. Like, this is how close we were.
Like, I personally, if I were Jax, I'd be like, okay, you guys come with us. We'll then drive you to where your car is actually at and make sure you get on your merry way. But
Right, like, here's a map and a highlighter.
Go
you got
for
this.
it. I don't know.
Well, I also think Jax wants to spend some time with Holly because, you know, they shared her tent, they kiss at the waterfall.
Sure, but if we are even if we were, all right, we got 2 hours back to the car. Like, we got to take down the tent. We got to pack all our stuff up. We got to make sure these Vikings are okay. We got to walk back to the car.
Yes,
and then we got to
that's
drive another, 15 minutes or so. And I haven't eaten yet. Like, are we intermittent fasting maybe? Like, I feel like I'm missing a critical
If I were
component.
on this hike, I would have been hangry by now.
Because otherwise, then we were what? Maybe a 45-minute sunset flashlight needed. Let's just get back to the car and I can get these Vikings.
Why didn't
But
they?
I thought they all ate together that evening.
They
They
did,
did.
but why
Did they
we not just bring them back?
to the cabin that has bunk beds.
And
Because they had to share the tent, guys.
I know.
understand.
I know. This is us
understand.
thinking logically.
No, they had to share the tent somehow. This is the way they shared the tent.
I know. This is what I do. I'm like, logistically, this can't happen.
So Holly and Jax make their way back to the cabin and they decide not to eat breakfast because they're just going to hurry back and go out and get breakfast at a restaurant.
Because now they're in love.
Yes.
Or they realize they're in love.
But unfortunately, Holly rolls her ankle very badly and Jax
They still have no food.
no food. I'm like, I'm sorry, feed me something.
They eventually make it to food, though.
They
right?
do. Jax carries her the entire way back, puts her in the car, takes her to an urgent care, who the doctor there happened to be beautiful.
And hits on her, which
And
was
he hits him.
her dream. Her roommate had a doctor fiance who hit on her when she was there.
And at the beginning of the book, she made a comment like, oh, if I could find myself a
yeah,
doctor. And then she finds
foreshadowing
one,
in there.
and she wants nothing to do with him.
I think she didn't notice.
Yeah.
Yes.
She's like, I'm a mess. I've been camping for 3 days.
Yes. And
My
Jackson
hair must be
notices
in my
everything.
face.
So.
Yeah.
My burly bartender's right next to me.
Right.
Once they finally get her fixed up at the doctor, they go and eat breakfast. And while they're there, Jax finds out he gets his first booking.
It had somehow been long enough that it was too far from the car, but then he could carry her, they could go to urgent care, they could get x-rays, they could do all of this, and then they're still eating breakfast. Like, what? Never mind. I have thoughts.
So many thoughts. Jax then drives back to Atlanta. He stays a few days with her, takes care of her, all while, he really needs to be back at the cabin, getting
The
crap
cabin ready.
finishing that outdoor shower so everyone can see him in all his glory.
Maybe that's what I should put on the Instagram.
Yeah.
I mean, that could be a real selling point there. And while he's at the cabin, he finally leaves, goes back, gets everything set, and there's no internet, and he finally gets internet and texts Holly that the dog misses her.
Oh, yes, I remember this.
And then he thinks, he's like, I really should have just said it was me that missed her. So he just decides, I'm going to get
This
in
is,
my...
I think, when she writes, a girl would want a man to think
Yes.
Yeah.
And then he decides...
No, I should have been honest with my feelings.
He gets in the truck with the dog, drives to Atlanta in the middle of the night, shows up at midnight, 2 a.m.
Yeah.
And texts her, are you awake? Because that's a classic
Yeah.
text. In the
You
middle
up?
of-
Also, I definitely think guy would be like, the dog misses you.
Yeah.
I mean, yes.
I do actually think.
Yes.
That's also a thing I would try too.
So he then ends up walking into a room with the dog and says, I missed you, not the dog. And that was really cute.
Yeah, it was. The way it ended was so adorable.
It was adorable. So she ends up, quitting her job because
She's going to do her own marketing company.
Yes. And Jax
Women
happens to
empowerment.
be her first
Customer.
and then she has like 5 more by the end of the book.
She's like
Yeah.
successful, and then they're together, and I really enjoyed this book. I enjoyed the main characters. I liked them more as the book went on. I hated the characters I was supposed to hate more as the book went on.
I will say I had a hard time getting through the book, but when I look back, it may have been because I was working a 12-day stretch. So that might have been my own
That'll
fault.
do it.
Yeah. So,
That is the quit list.
and then what is our own quit list?
What are we quitting?
What are we quitting?
Okay, it's about to be summer, so I'm quitting worrying about other things that I cannot control.
Oh,
That's a good one.
So that's what I'm going to be quitting in the new, it's summer for me, so.
I'm gonna quit being lame. JK. It's too hard.
You're the least lame person of all of us.
Amity's going for a big move, so.
I'm quitting my actual job and moving, and I've got 5 + 4 + 3 days left of work.
Wait.
I have 12 days left of my
Oh
job.
my
Oh my gosh.
I know. And then I'm quitting my job.
Well, to keep on the job theme, I'm gonna try to quit doing more than I need to. And
Yeah.
delegate.
Work-life balance. I think, if anything.
What's that?
And bringing it home is just so easy, but at the same time, like shutting it off is so difficult.
It is.
So, and I think that Holly, not her job, but like that expectations
Yes.
of everything of what she wanted, of her list, of what a perfect man is.
When she got rid of the expectations, she was able to enjoy.
Yeah, and she was able to see what she really wanted in
Do
her
it
life.
Holly's way.
Yeah, exactly.
Ooh, let's say that. Do it Holly's way.
Do it Holly's way.
I like that.
It'll be
The
our secret.
non-lame way.
Yes.
WWHD.
So ratings, Amity, what are you gonna give it?
I enjoyed this book. There was obviously some logistical plot hole. I'm gonna go with a 7.5.
Okay, I actually really enjoyed this book. I thought I really could relate to Holly multiple times. So I'm going to give this book an 8.5 because when I zoomed through this book. I think I started it in
You
the
did.
morning.
I want to say you
and
said,
then-
texted
like,
and
I read
said,
it all
"I'm
in one
done."
day.
Yes, but that's, when I really enjoy a book, I go through it really quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed Holly. The story I thought was hilarious. Also, I'm a big hiker, so I could...
So that was one more thing you
yes.
could relate to.
I could relate to that and the Lululemon outfits.
So basically you are Holly.
Yeah, except I never had a list, of criteria or like, this is how my life is going to be. But then
But I do feel like you are like her and that you're regimented. Like, I'd like to do this thing, I'm going to work for it. And then because you work for it, the thing happens for you because, like, you're a good person.
My occupation is teaching, so I also think that teaching is very regimented like that. So, like, I know what I'm going to do on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Yeah, you have to plan ahead of time.
I have to plan ahead of time, so I think I could relate to her in that way.
Yeah. I think because it took me an entire week to get through the book, I'm going to give it a 6.5.
Okay. So that averages 6.5, 7.5, 8.5. Averages out to a 7.5.
7.5.
That's a pretty good rating.
Yes. It's
That's a
much
pretty
better
good
than
rating.
our last one. What was...
I don't remember what we rated that one, but
No. I
don't
we were
remember
not
either.
big fans of it.
No.
I think we've
It
been
was
bigger fans of
entertaining.
other things that author has written.
Yes.
Yes.
And I was like scrolling through my like everything I've read, like my Goodreads today, and I had read a lot by that previous
Lauren
author.
Asher.
Yeah.
Because she has
Yes.
the Formula One series.
Yeah,
It's
that's
actually
Throttled
I love
series.
that
I know.
series.
And I want to say because it was popping up, what inspired me to go back is it looked like another book either came out that I've not read or something like continuing in the series. And I was like, I really feel like I've read this. So I went back and I was like, I've read a lot of her
I know.
stuff.
I loved the Throttled series. I love that one.
Yes.
That was like right when I initially got my Kindle, I was reading those. So like maybe a year and a half ago now.
So what are we going to read next?
We are going to read Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez.
Abby. So
Oh,
I'm excited
Yes.
about that one. This will hit especially close to home for Lauren. It has to do with kidneys.
And medical field.
And
TJ and I are currently watching The Resident, so
you guys are basically doing residency with your brother.
we're basically in the book ourselves.
It's fine.
I have kidneys, so I'll relate.
Yeah,
you
I've been
go.
to doctors, so here we go.
Have. So it's interesting to read it. So this is a reread for me. I read it. I loved it. So it's
High expectations then.
It is. So I'm excited for you guys to read it.
I'm looking forward to it. And looking forward to that episode. So we'll catch you here next time. Now, whether you read today's book or the book next time or any of the books from our previous episodes, if you read them and we were the ones who sent you, then we encourage you to, wherever you rate or review that book, say that Shmindle Shmumlimited sent you. And then thanks for listening to our podcast. The best thing you can do for us is to rate and review our podcast. Share it with somebody who also knows how to read. Ideally, they're an adult who can read adult books. But we are thankful for your support anyways, and thanks for sharing, rating, and reviewing. And if you want to continue with our rates, reviews, and ramblings, make sure you subscribe to Shmindle Shmumlimited wherever it is that you are getting your podcasts, and we will catch you next time. Bye!
Bye!